18,000 volunteers marched north from Yamama, April 633. Kuwait, a Persian governor reads a letter and laughs. Submit or pay tax. The Arabs want Mesopotamia. Hormuzd sends the note to his emperor with a promise written underneath. He will teach these desert raiders a lesson they will never forget. The governor musters his army at Uballa, 40 kilometers south of modern Basra. Heavy infantry. Christian Arab auxiliaries from the frontier towns. Chain links forged in imperial workshops. He expects the Arabs to take the direct route through Kazima. He positions his forces there and waits. But the Arab commander writes that letter knowing Hormuzd will read it, knowing the Persians will expect the obvious path. His name is Khalid ibn al-Walid. He does not take the obvious path. Third week of March, 633. Khalid leaves Yamama with 10,000 men. 4 tribal chiefs join him along the desert routes: Mudana ibn Haritha, Majrur bin Adi, Harmala, Sulma. Each brings 2,000 warriors, 18,000 total. The largest Muslim army ever assembled for battle at that point. All volunteers. Caliph Abu Bakr insists on this. No conscripts, no forced levies. Every man rides north because he chose to ride north. They are mounted on camels with horses held ready for combat. Light equipment, high mobility, speed is the weapon. They carry provisions for fast movement through terrain the Persians cannot cross, desert territory. The kind of ground where heavy armor becomes a death sentence under the sun. Khalid divides his force into 3 groups for the march. Each group moves 1 day apart, spreads the water consumption, reduces the dust trail, keeps the men fresh. The whole army can concentrate within 24 hours if needed. Near Hufair they gather again, 50 miles from Kazima, 21 miles from Uballa, the critical port, the economic lifeline. Hormuzd cannot let this position be threatened. Khalid knows this. The Persian governor sits at Kazima waiting for Arabs who will never arrive. His scouts report movement toward Hufair. Panic. Uballa is exposed. He orders an immediate march, 50 miles across open ground. His army packs up and moves. Heavy infantry, scale armor, chainmail, Christian auxiliaries grumbling about another forced march. They trudge toward Hufair in the heat. Khalid waits at Hufair just long enough. His scouts watch the Persian column approach. Then he turns his army around, back through the desert hills, back toward Kazima. When Hormuzd arrives at Hufair, there are no Arabs, only dust and abandoned campfires. His scouts bring the news. Khalid is marching to Kazima. The route to Uballa cannot be left open. Hormuzd has no choice. He orders another march, 50 miles back. His troops are already tired. Now they march again, in armor. Under the sun, through sand and scrub. The Christian Arab auxiliaries complain openly. The infantry moves slower with each hour. By the time the Persian army reaches Kazima, they are exhausted. Mouths dry, legs heavy, minds dulled. Hormuzd deploys them immediately west of the city. Standard formation, center, and wings. But he adds something unusual. He orders sections of his infantry to chain themselves together, metal links binding groups of men, a symbol to the enemy. We will not retreat. We will stand or die. This tactic has a purpose. Chained infantry cannot easily be broken by cavalry charges. A horse hitting a line of linked men finds no gap to exploit. The formation holds like a wall. For a set-piece battle on flat ground, this makes sense, but it has one catastrophic weakness. If the line breaks, the men cannot withdraw. The chains become shackles. Thousands become trapped. Hormuzd names his wing commanders, Kubaz and Anushagan, both experienced officers. He keeps the city covered by his dispositions. In front of his army stretches a sandy plain, 3 miles deep. Beyond the plain rises a complex of low barren hills, 200 to 300 feet high. Desert hills running all the way to Hufair. First week of April, 633. Third week of Muharram in the Islamic calendar, year 12. Khalid emerges from those hills with 18,000 rested troops. Hormuzd faces him with an exhausted Persian army. Exact Persian numbers are not recorded in the sources, but they include substantial Christian Arab contingents and regular Sassanid heavy infantry. The sources describe the force as large and well-equipped, the kind of army that made Persia a superpower. But equipment means nothing when the troops can barely stand. If you value documented military history like this, subscribe. It is the best way to support our work. Also, comment from which city you are hearing this from. This script is researched and factual, using sources from Wikipedia entries updated as recently as July 2025, citing the 9th century historian Tabari from A.I. Akram's 1970 military history, The Sword of Allah, which involved 5 years of research, including site visits to Kuwait and Iraq, and was used as required reading at Pakistan's Staff College, and from archaeological findings published in Times Kuwait, in February 2025, confirming Sassanian-era settlements and pottery at Kazima. Now back to the information. Khalid positions his army with the desert hills at his back. Escape route secured if needed. Standard center and wings formation. He names his wing commanders, Asim bin Amr and Adi bin Hatim. Adi is chief of the Tai tribe, tall, experienced. Asim is brother to Qaqa bin Amr. That name matters. Qaqa bin Amr al-Tamimi. Abu Bakr called him worth 11,000 men. Right now he is positioned somewhere in the Arab ranks, watching the Persian deployment. The two armies face each other across the sandy plain. Khalid has mobility. Hormuzd has position and numbers. The Arabs are rested. The Persians are broken before the first sword swings. Then the battle opens in the traditional style, a duel, champion against champion. Hormuzd rides forward into the space between the armies, closer to his own lines. He is governor of the vital frontier district Dast Mason, experienced veteran, trusted imperial servant, renowned fighter. In that era, no general commands without also being a warrior. He stops his horse, calls out the challenge, man to man. Khalid answers. He rides forward. The armies watch. Two commanders in single combat. Winner claims momentum. Loser delivers morale catastrophe to his troops. They close, swords first. Both are skilled. The fight with blades goes nowhere. Neither can gain advantage. Sources report they shift to wrestling, grappling and armor. Strength against strength. Still neither prevails. This is no cinematic duel. This is exhausting, brutal close-range combat between two men trying to kill each other. The fight continues. Then Hormuzd signals. 5 or 6 Persian soldiers rush forward. The plan was arranged before the battle. If Khalid gains the upper hand, the knights will intervene and kill him. Treachery. Hormuzd never intended an honorable duel. The knights close on Khalid. He realizes he is about to die. The Arab lines are too far away. No one can reach him in time. Multiple armored men swarm him. Then one man reaches him. Qaqa bin Amr sees the movement from the Arab ranks, recognizes immediately what is happening. No time to tell anyone, no time to gather support. He spurs his horse into full gallop, arrives just as the Persian knights reach Khalid. Qaqa hits them like a thunderbolt. One Persian goes down headless, and then another. The sources do not record exact numbers, but report Qaqa killed all the treacherous knights who attacked Khalid. Freed from the assault, Khalid turns full attention back to Hormuzd. Within 2 minutes, Hormuzd lies motionless on the ground. Khalid rises with a bloody dagger. The Arab lines see their commander victorious. The Persian army sees their governor dead in the dust. Psychological blow. Command structure decapitated. Hormuzd wore a cap worth 100,000 dirhams, spoils of the duel. Khalid will later send it to Abu Bakr, who returns it because by right of combat it belongs to Khalid. Khalid prefers cash and sells it. Material detail. These men fight for faith, but they also take plunder. That is documented. Qaqa has saved the commander and killed the enemy general. Abu Bakr's assessment, worth 11,000 men, proves accurate. Khalid orders general attack. The center and wings advance across the plain. The Muslims are incensed by the attempted treachery. They hit the Persian line with fury. The Persians are leaderless. Their governor is dead. Their morale is shattered. But they are still numerous, and their iron discipline holds for a time. The chained infantry stands firm. This is what they trained for. Set-piece defensive battle. Wall of shields and spears with men linked together so cavalry cannot break through. The Muslim assault crashes against them. Initial attack stalls. The Persians fight hard. They are professionals. Centuries of imperial military tradition. They know how to hold formation even when exhausted. But Khalid's troops are fresh, rested, mobile. They attack, pull back, attack again from a different angle. The exhausted Persians have marched 50 miles to Hufair and 50 miles back to Kazima in armor under April sun. Then deployed immediately for battle. Then watched their commander die. Now they fight wave after wave of Arab cavalry charges. Wing commanders Qubaz and Anoshigan hold their positions, but they cannot sustain this. The Persian wings begin to give. Sensing collapse, Qubaz and Anoshigan order withdrawal. The unchained cavalry and the mobile troops pull back. They can retreat, but the chained center cannot. Thousands of Persian infantry linked together by metal. They try to fall back. The chains prevent it. They become anchored targets. Muslim cavalry surrounds them. The chained men are cut down in thousands, cannot maneuver, cannot flee. The chains that were meant to show determination now guarantee slaughter. Most Persians who were not chained managed to escape. Those who were chained die on the field. The sources do not provide precise casualty figures for the Battle of Chains, but they describe thousands slain and thousands captured. Half the Sassanid army is lost, according to some accounts. Muslim casualties are reported as light, at most a few thousand. The battle ends before nightfall. The Arab victory is total. Spoils are massive. Wagons, armor, stores, costly garments, horses, money. The Muslims capture an elephant. First elephant most of them have ever seen. They send it to Medina with the other spoils. The city of the Prophet has never seen such an animal. Tremendous excitement when the beast arrives. People marvel at this largest of land creatures. Abu Bakr cannot think of any use for it and returns it to Khalid. What happens to the elephant after that the sources do not record, but the capture is documented. War elephants are part of Persian military doctrine. Elephant corps recruited from India, specialized units. The presence of even one elephant at Kazima indicates the scale of Persian commitment. This was not a minor frontier skirmish. This was the Sassanid Empire defending its Mesopotamian territories with professional troops, including rare and expensive assets like elephants. The Battle of Chains becomes the first engagement between the Rashidun Caliphate and the Sassanid Persian Empire. April 633 marks the beginning of the Muslim invasion of Persia. The battle names itself, Chains. The tactic that was supposed to demonstrate Persian resolve instead becomes the symbol of their defeat. The chained men who pledged to stand or die did exactly that. They stood, they died, the chains ensured it. Khalid's strategy worked perfectly. Wear down the enemy with forced marches. Strike when they are exhausted. Use mobility to exploit Persian lack of speed. Heavy infantry and armor cannot move fast. Prolonged movement tires them. Desert terrain favors the light, mobile force. Khalid forced the Persians to march 100 miles in days. By the time battle was joined, they were already beaten. The actual combat just confirmed what the strategy had already accomplished. If you value comprehensive research on medieval warfare, subscribe. Comment which country you're watching from. This documentary uses historical analysis from Durham University scholars, published in War on the Rocks in August 2015, examining I. Akram's military writings, Wikipedia entries on the battle updated in 2025, and detailed tactical breakdowns from military history sources including The Hall of Ancient Warriors, published October 2025. These sources cross-reference 9th century chronicles from Tabari and Ibn Kathir with modern archaeological work at Kazima in Kuwait, where Sasanian period pottery, settlements, and coins confirm the site as the battle location 40 kilometers northwest of Kuwait Bay. Now continuing. But Khalid does not stop at Kazima. The Persian army is broken, but not destroyed. Survivors flee toward Uballa. Qubaz and Anushagan rally what forces they can. They send word to Ctesiphon, the imperial capital 350 kilometers northeast. Emergency. The frontier is collapsing. Reinforcements needed immediately. The emperor responds. A top general named Karin is dispatched with a large force. His mission, protect Uballa in case the Muslims continue advancing. Karin moves fast. He gathers survivors from the Battle of Chains, conscripts, inexperienced troops. Some Persian veterans who fought at Kazima have switched sides. They convert to Islam and join Khalid's forces. This creates chaos in Persian ranks. Men who fought alongside them days ago are now in enemy lines. Morale plummets. Desertions increase. Karin panics. He chooses to fight away from Uballa at a place called Al-Madar, near the Euphrates River. Easier for Persian regulars to arrive. The converted Persian veterans will not know this ground. Third week of April 633. Less than 2 weeks after Chains, Khalid learns the Persians are organizing at Al-Madar. He does not wait for them to fully assemble. He leads the main army himself and sends a small detachment under Muthanna ibn Haritha to scout ahead. The aim, arrive before Persian forces can gather full strength. Strike while weak and unprepared. When Khalid arrives, he sees Persian ships still docking at the river. The army is not ready. Khalid faces them with about 17,000 men. Some sources say he had 18,000 at Chains and lost minimal casualties, so he likely had close to full strength. The Persians deploy with the Euphrates River at their backs, boats ready at the near bank to facilitate withdrawal if needed. Center and wings formation. Qubaz and Anoshigan, survivors from Chains, command the wings. Karin commands the center. He is a general worth 100,000 dirhams. High rank, substantial pay, imperial favor. He represents Persian pride. Khalid deploys his standard formation, center and wings. Asim bin Amr and Adi bin Hatim command the wings again. The battle opens with duels. 3 duels. Karin steps forward first, calls the challenge. Khalid urges his horse forward to meet him. Then another Muslim named Maqal bin al-Ashi rides out from the Arab front rank. He reaches Karin before Khalid. Maqal is an accomplished swordsman, capable of fighting champion-class opponents. Khalid does not call him back. Maqal and Karin fight. Maqal kills Karin. The 100,000 dirham general goes down. psychological victory. Then Qubaz steps forward, challenges for single combat. Asim accepts. They fight. Asim kills Qubaz. Anushirvan steps forward. Adi accepts. They fight. Adi kills Anushirvan. All three Persian commanders dead in the opening minutes. Command structure obliterated. Khalid gives the order for general attack. The Muslims rush forward. The Persian army has lost all its top generals, but the men fight bravely. They hold the Muslim attacks for a time. But absent able leadership, disorder and confusion spread through the ranks. Eventually, under continued Muslim pressure, the Persian army loses cohesion. They turn toward the riverbank. Boats. Escape. Panic. The retreat becomes a rout. Persians flood toward the boats, overloading, capsizing. Men drown in armor. Others are cut down before reaching the water. The sources report 30,000 Persians killed. This figure comes from Tabari, cited by Akram, 30,000. The Battle of River, sometimes called Battle of Al-Madar, becomes an even greater slaughter than Chains. The Euphrates runs with blood, so much blood the battle earns another name, Battle of Blood River. The banks turn red. Bodies pile in the shallows. Khalid's forces achieve total victory in the third week of April, 633. 2 major battles in 2 weeks. The first Muslim invasion of Iraq is proceeding faster than anyone anticipated. Hormuzd dead at Chains. Qarin dead at River, along with Qubaz and Anushirvan. The Sassanid Empire is hemorrhaging commanders and men, but Khalid does not pause. May 633. He advances toward Hira, the regional capital of Lower Mesopotamia. The Emperor Yazdgerd III orders concentration of 2 new armies at the imperial capital, Ctesiphon. Following imperial orders, Sassanid forces begin gathering. The first army is placed under Zagar, governor of Khorasan province. He is ordered to move to Walaja, where he will be joined by a second army. Zagar sets off from Ctesiphon, moves along the east bank of the Tigris, crosses at Kaskar, moves southwest to the Euphrates near Walaja, crosses and establishes camp. On his route, he picks up thousands of Arabs willing to fight under his standard. He also takes command of remnants from the armies that fought at Chains and River. The second army commander is Bahman, top personality in the Sassanid military hierarchy. He is ordered to take the second force to Walaja. The plan: Bahman will command both armies and annihilate the outnumbered Muslims in one great battle. But Bahman leaves Ctesiphon several days after Zagar. Delays. Khalid's intelligence network functions efficiently. Local Arabs hostile to Persians serve as agents. They inform Khalid about the Persian concentration at Walaja and the much greater numbers being assembled. Khalid has to reach Hira. Walaja is directly on his route. With about 15,000 men, he sets off toward Hira, moving fast along the southern edge of the Great Marsh. He arrives at Walaja days before Bahman is expected. Zagar is waiting alone. His combined force with Christian Arab allies and survivors from previous battles is estimated at over 30,000. Zagar outnumbers Khalid perhaps 2 to 1, but he is one army waiting for another. May 633. The armies deploy, center and wings. Asim bin Amr and Adi bin Hatim command Muslim wings again. Zagar deploys in the center of a plain between 2 ridges, facing southeast. Western ridge behind them, left resting on northeastern ridge. The center of the battlefield is about 2 miles southeast of Ain al-Muhari, 35 miles southeast of Najaf, 6 miles southeast of Ash Sinafia. Geographic precision. These locations can be traced. Sassanid cavalry is heavily outnumbered by Muslim cavalry, mainly heavy cavalry stationed behind the wings guarding flanks. Khalid has 5,000 cavalry and 10,000 infantry. His cavalry outnumbers Persian cavalry significantly. He designs a grand maneuver based on this advantage. The plan: engage the Persian center with infantry, pin them in place, then execute a double envelopment with cavalry, both flanks, simultaneously. The same tactical concept Hannibal used at Cannae, rarely successfully executed, requires precise timing and coordination. Khalid attempts it at Walaja. The battle begins. Muslim infantry engages the Persian center. Fighting is fierce. The Persians hold formation. Khalid's infantry must maintain pressure without collapsing while the flanking movements develop. The Muslim cavalry on both wings begins wide, sweeping movements, circling around the Persian flanks, moving to attack from the sides and rear. The Persian cavalry tries to counter, but they are outnumbered. Muslim horsemen push them back, circle wider, keep moving, coordinate the timing. Both wings must close the trap simultaneously. The center holds, the flanks close. The Persians suddenly realize they are surrounded. Muslim cavalry strikes from both sides. From the rear, the center is still fighting the infantry to their front. They are trapped. The double envelopment is complete. Panic spreads through Persian ranks. Men try to break out. Cannot. They are encircled. Systematic destruction begins. Thousands are cut down in the pocket. The Persian formation disintegrates. Anderzagar's army is annihilated. Muslim casualties are minor. The Persians and their allies lose thousands. Exact figures not recorded, but sources describe complete defeat, with vast amounts of booty captured. 3 victories in 1 month. Chains in early April. River in late April. Walaja in May. Khalid is crushing every Persian force sent against him. The speed is devastating. The Sassanid command structure cannot react fast enough. By the time new armies assemble, the old ones are already destroyed. Mid-May, 633. Khalid advances to Ulais, near the junction of the Euphrates and Kasif rivers, 25 miles southeast of Najaf, 4 miles southwest of modern Ash, Shinafia. Geographic detail confirmed by modern mapping. The Sassanids and Christian Arab auxiliaries are camped side by side, Euphrates to their left, Kasif to their right, river junction behind them. Jaban commands the Persian forces. He receives information that Khalid is advancing. It is mealtime. The Persian soldiers are about to eat. Jaban orders them to abstain from food to display their toughness to the Muslims. They arrange in great haste before the Muslims can arrive. Christian Arabs form the wings under tribal chiefs, Abdul Aswad and Abjar. Imperial army forms the center. Battlefield runs southeast of Elias between Euphrates and Kasif. Distance about 2 miles. Khalid deploys standard formation. Adi bin Hatim is named commander of one wing. He is son of the famous Arab Christian chief Hatim, who was renowned for generosity before converting to Islam. The battle becomes brutal. Khalid tries to break through the Persian defensive lines. Cannot. The Persians hold firm. This is tougher than previous battles. Khalid prays. Sources report he makes a vow. If Allah grants victory, he will flow rivers of blood of the Sassanid forces. The Muslims renew their assault with vigor. The Persians begin to crack. They turn and flee toward Hira. Thousands are killed on the riverbank. The bank turns red with blood. This is not metaphor. The sources specifically state the massive casualties cause visible discoloration. Khalid orders some of his men to announce publicly that defeated Persians should be captured, not killed unless they fight back. Groups surrender. They are brought to Khalid. He assigns men to behead them alongside the river. The execution of prisoners. This generates controversy then and remains debated by historians now. It is documented in the sources, including Tabari. The strategic logic, Khalid fears the Persians will regroup again. They have fought him in 4 battles now. After each battle they regroup and attack again. He decides to eliminate the threat permanently. The result is massive bloodshed. So much that the battle earns the name Battle of Blood River or Battle of Ulais. Last week of May 633, Khalid besieges Hira, the regional capital, Lower Mesopotamia's heart. The inhabitants are given peace terms, annual payment of jizya, an agreement to provide intelligence for Muslims. They accept. Hira falls. Khalid rests his armies. June 633, he lays siege to Anbar, fierce resistance. The Battle of Anbar is remembered as the action of the eye. Muslim archers are told to aim at the eyes of the Persian garrison. The town eventually falls in July 633 as a result of the siege. Khalid then moves south. Captures Ain al-Tamr in the last week of July. 4 months, March to July 633. Khalid enters Iraq with 18,000 men, wins at Chains, wins at River, wins at Walaja, wins at Ulais, captures Hira, takes Anbar, takes Ain ul-Tamr. Except for Ctesiphon, he has captured all of Iraq. 4 months. The speed is staggering. The Sassanid Empire is reeling. This is one of the most successful military campaigns in history, not because of the size of the army. 18,000 is not massive, because of the speed, the tactical sophistication, the strategic vision, and the exploitation of Persian weaknesses. What are those weaknesses? First, mobility. Persian heavy infantry cannot move fast. Extended movement exhausts them. Khalid forces them to march and countermarch until worn out, then strikes. Second, command structure. The Persian system depends on centralized control from Ctesiphon. Generals wait for imperial orders. Khalid acts faster than the Persian bureaucracy can respond. Third, morale. The Sassanid Empire is internally unstable. Between 628 and 632, they experienced extreme political chaos. Multiple rulers claimed the throne in rapid succession. The execution of Shah Khosrow II in 628 triggered this. When Khalid invades in 633, the empire is politically fragmented. Decades of warfare with the Byzantine Empire have exhausted both superpowers. The Byzantine-Sasanian War of 602 to 628 drained Persian resources. They are militarily weakened. Fourth, terrain. The desert separates the Arab territories from Mesopotamia, but it is not a barrier to Khalid. It is an asset. He uses it for mobility. For supply lines the Persians cannot cut, for retreat routes if needed. The Persians cannot operate effectively in desert terrain. Their heavy forces require roads, water sources, supply trains. Khalid's light mobile forces thrive where Persians struggle. December 633. Khalid reaches the border city of Firaz. Combined Sassanid Persian, Byzantine Roman, and Christian Arab forces are assembled. This is the last battle of his Iraqi campaign. Khalid defeats the combined force. Total victory. Mesopotamia is now under Muslim control except Ctesiphon. Abu Bakr does not direct Khalid to advance deeper into Sassanid territory. Strategic pause. Consolidate gains. But circumstances change on the Western Front. The Byzantine army comes into direct conflict in Syria and Palestine. Abu Bakr needs his best general there. He orders Khalid to Syria with half his army. Muthanna ibn Haritha is left as successor commander in Iraq. 9 months after Chain's, Khalid leaves for Syria. His Iraqi campaign is finished. 4 months of combat, complete conquest of Mesopotamia. The first Muslim invasion of Iraq is one of the most decisive campaigns in military history. What happens after Khalid leaves? The Sassanids recover. Yazdegerd III raises new armies. The Muslims under Muthanna withdraw from central Iraq to the region near the Arabian Desert to buy time until reinforcements arrive from Medina. Caliph Umar, Abu Bakr, dies in August 634 and Umar succeeds him, sends reinforcements under Abu Ubaid. October 634, Abu Ubaid assumes command, defeats the Sassanids at Battle of Namarak near modern Kufa. Recaptures Hira at Battle of Kaskar. Then the Persians launch a counterattack. Battle of the Bridge. The Muslims are defeated. Abu Ubaid is killed. Heavy Muslim losses. The Persians regain ground in Iraq. The response is delayed until after a decisive Muslim victory against Byzantium in the Levant, Battle of Yarmouk in 636. After Yarmouk, Umar can transfer forces east. He dispatches 36,000 men plus 7,500 from the Syrian front under Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. Battle of al-Qadisiyyah follows. November 636. 3 days of fighting. The Muslims prevail. The legendary Persian general Rostam Farrokhzad is killed. Persian losses estimated at 20,000. Arab losses around 10,500. Qadisiyyah is decisive. After this, the Sassanids cannot defend Ctesiphon. They evacuate the capital. The Muslims capture it after a brief siege. From there, they continue east, following Yazdegerd and his remaining forces. Battle of Jalula, Battle of Nahavand in 642, the victory of victories. By 651, the Sassanid Empire is completely conquered. But it all begins at Chains, April 633. Kazima, Kuwait, 18,000 Arabs, exhausted Persians, Chains binding infantry, Hormuz's treachery, Waqqas' intervention, Khalid's dagger, the battle that opens the door to Persia, the victory that demonstrates Arab military capability against a superpower. Before Chains, the idea of Arabs conquering Persia would have seemed absurd. After Chains, it becomes inevitable. The psychological impact cannot be overstated. The Sassanid Empire ruled from the Indus to the Nile at its height. They were one of the two superpowers of late antiquity, along with Rome. Their military was professional, well-equipped, experienced. They had war elephants, heavy cavalry, the elite units, the traditions, the resources, and they lost to 18,000 desert volunteers, lost decisively, lost repeatedly. The shock reverberated through the empire. How did this happen? How did Hormuz lose at Kazima? The answers are tactical and strategic. Tactically, he was exhausted from forced marches before battle even began. Strategically, the empire was weakened by internal chaos and external wars, but there is another factor: leadership. Khalid ibn al-Walid, called Saif Allah, Sword of Allah, his military record is extraordinary, never defeated in battle. Over 100 engagements. He fights in the early Muslim Quraysh conflicts before converting to Islam. After conversion, he becomes the premier Muslim military commander. Rid of wars against apostate tribes, he wins. Battle of Yamama against false prophet Musaylima, he wins. Invasion of Iraq, he wins every battle. Transfer to Syria, he wins there too. Battle of Yarmouk against Byzantium is considered one of the greatest tactical victories in history. Khalid commands. The Muslims win. He is eventually dismissed from command by Caliph Umar. The reasons are complex and debated. Political tensions, concerns about Khalid's aggression, fear that Muslims were crediting victories to Khalid rather than to Allah. Umar famously says he does not dismiss Khalid because of any treachery, but because people were becoming too reliant on him. Khalid accepts the dismissal without protest. He retires, dies in Emesa in 642. His death comes just as Umar is about to reinstate him as field commander for the continued Persian campaign. timing. History turns on such moments, but his legacy is the conquest. The first Muslim invasions of both the Byzantine Empire and the Sassanid Empire bear his mark. The tactics, the speed, the aggression, his subordinates learn from him. Qaqa bin Amr, who saved him at chains, goes on to distinguish himself at Qadisiyyah. Asim bin Amr and Adi bin Hatim, who commanded wings in Iraq, continue their military service. The officers Khalid trained lead the subsequent conquests. His influence extends beyond his active service. The campaign he launched in 633 reaches its conclusion in 651 when the Sassanid Empire ceases to exist, 18 years from chains to the fall of Persia. But those 18 years begin with the strategy executed in April 633. March the Persians from Uballa to Kazima, march them to Hufair, march them back to Kazima, fight them when they can barely stand, win, repeat. Archaeological evidence supports the historical accounts. Kazima is located 40 kilometers northwest of Kuwait Bay in the Jahra Governorate. The site was a fairly large city in antiquity, over a mile in diameter at its peak. Castle-like ruins remain on a tongue of land jutting into the sea, though these may be from a later period than Khalid's time. Excavations have uncovered Sasanian-era pottery, settlements, coins from the Umayyad and Abbasid periods indicating the site remained important in the early Islamic era. The location matches the geographic descriptions in the sources. Coastal, defensive position. On the route between the Arabian Desert and Mesopotamian centers, the discovery of torpedo jar pottery sherds, typical of Sassanian occupation on beach ridges in Kuwait, confirms the Persian presence in the region in the 7th century. The Battle of Chains is not myth, it is history, documented in multiple sources, confirmed by archaeology, located in real geography. The broader context matters. 633 is year one of the Islamic conquests that will reshape the world. The Rashidun Caliphate, rightly guided caliphate, rules from 632 to 661. Abu Bakr, 632 to 634. Umar, 634 to 644. Uthman, 644 to 656. Ali, 656 to 661. In less than 30 years, they conquer Mesopotamia, Persia, the Levant, Egypt, North Africa. The speed is unprecedented. Historians debate the reasons. Islamic motivation, Byzantine Sasanian exhaustion, Arab military effectiveness, strategic vulnerabilities in the empires, likely all of the above, but the conquests could not happen without victories, and the victories begin with commanders like Khalid. Battles like Chains establish that Muslims can defeat superpower armies. That momentum builds. Within a century of Muhammad's death in 632, the Islamic world stretches from Spain to Central Asia. The Battle of Chains is the first step, the opening move, the proof of concept. 18,000 men march north. They meet a Persian army. They employ superior strategy. They win. The governor dies. The chains remain as symbols. Metal links scattered across the sand at Kazima, reminders that determination without flexibility is a death sentence. The Persians showed their resolve by chaining themselves, but resolve cannot replace tactical wisdom, cannot compensate for exhaustion, cannot defeat an enemy who controls the tempo. Hormuzd made his stand. His troops chained themselves together. They pledged to die rather than retreat. They died. The chains ensured it. When the formation broke, the linked men could not escape. They stood in place and were cut down. Tactical inflexibility became literal physical restraint. The very symbol of their determination guaranteed their slaughter. Modern military analysis studies chains as an example of mobility defeating static defense, of fatigue as a decisive factor, of psychological warfare, forcing the enemy to march until their will breaks before the battle begins. Of deception, the letter sent from Yamama that makes Hormuz expect the obvious route. Of intelligence, Arab agents who inform Khalid about Persian dispositions. Of adaptation, using terrain features like the desert as assets rather than obstacles. Of timing, striking when the enemy is assembled but not ready. Of combined arms, infantry to pin the center while cavalry envelopes the flanks at Walaja. Of leadership, commanders like Khalid, who make instant decisions, and subordinates like Qaqa, who act without orders when they see necessity. These principles remain relevant. Military academies study these campaigns. The Pakistan Army required Akram's book at Staff College. The Malaysian Army used it in leadership curriculum. Why? Because the tactical lessons are timeless. Mobility, deception, speed, psychological pressure, exploitation of enemy weakness. These work in any era. The sources preserve details that humanize the events. The 100,000 dirham cap, the elephant sent to Medina, Abu Bakr's puzzlement about what to do with an elephant, Waqqas charging alone to save Khalid without telling anyone. The Persian soldiers ordered to skip their meal to look tough. Khalid selling Hormuz's cap because he prefers cash to fancy headwear. Small details, but they are in the chronicles. They survived 14 centuries because they were memorable. They reveal personality. Abu Bakr returns the cap to Khalid as rightful spoils, but Khalid does not want ornamental gear. He wants money, practical, combat-focused. That detail tells us about the man. Waqqas sees treachery and reacts instantly. No committee, no consultation. He charges. That tells us about him. The Sassanid soldiers skip lunch to appear tough. That tells us about their culture, honor, display, appearances. These small moments make the history vivid. The final detail that matters, the chronology. Third week of March 633, Khalid leaves Yamama. First week of April, battle at Chains. Third week of April, battle at River. May, battle at Walaja. Mid-May, battle at Oles. Late May, siege and capture of Hira. June, siege of Anbar. July, Anbar falls and Ain al-Tamr is taken. December, battle at Firaz. 4 months of continuous offensive operations. 7 major battles. Multiple sieges. Complete conquest of Mesopotamia, except the capital. No pauses. No defeats. Relentless forward momentum. This is not normal. Armies in this period typically campaign seasonally. Fight, withdraw, rest, refit, fight again next year. Khalid does not follow this pattern. He maintains offensive pressure from March through December. The Sassanids cannot catch their breath, cannot consolidate, cannot plan. They are always reacting, always behind, always assembling forces to face an enemy who has already moved to the next objective. That pace breaks them. By the time Khalid leaves for Syria in early 634, the first phase is done. The psychological damage is permanent. The Sassanid military never recovers its confidence. They will win some battles. Battle of the Bridge is a significant victory. But the trajectory is set, the momentum is established. From Chains forward, the direction is clear. The Arab forces are ascending. The Persian Empire is descending. The process takes 18 years to complete, but the outcome is determined in the first 4 months. In the forced marches, in the exhausted troops, in the treacherous duel, in Waqqas' gallop, in the chains that became shackles. April 633. Kazima, the battle that opened Persia to conquest. The day 18,000 volunteers proved they could beat a superpower. The moment when chains meant death instead of determination. The first victory in a campaign that changed the world. Recent archaeological confirmation published in February 2025 by Times Kuwait documents Sassanian period remains at Kazima, including settlements, pottery, hand coins from the 8th and 9th centuries Umayyad and Abbasid eras, verifying that Kazima remained a major commercial hub after the Muslim conquest, and confirming its historical significance in the region. The Battle of Chains between Muslims and Persians in 12 Hijri, 633 Common Era, is explicitly mentioned in historical records associated with the site. Modern Kazima sits in Jahra Governorate, approximately 40 kilometers northwest of Kuwait Bay. The eastern coast is called Dawat Kazima. Archaeological surveys continue to reveal evidence of the area's military and commercial importance in late antiquity and the early Islamic period. The site where thousands of chained Persian soldiers died defending the Sassanid frontier is still there, under Kuwaiti sand, pottery fragments, coin caches, structural remains, silent testimony to the day the chains failed,